بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Samir al-Sayyid Umar, Director General of the Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research. My fellow researchers, ladies and gentlemen, honored guests, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the 3rd Annual Kisser Invention Forum, and the first one to be held as a virtual event. We are here to celebrate the creativity and accomplishments of Kisser's inventors over the 2019 to 2020 period, as well as to underscore the far reaches that intellectual property has on our daily lives. If you were to ask a scientist what the most outstanding highlight of their career was, their answers would probably vary. Perhaps it was the day they completed their postgraduate degree, or the moment they saw their paper published in a peer-reviewed journal for the very first time. It could even be that euphoria they had felt once they had successfully completed a flagship project to which they had dedicated so many years of their lives. Whilst all of these are impressive in their own right, it is safe to say very few achievements can compare to that of being awarded a patent for an invention. It is a brainchild that is nurtured from conception to realization. A process where you see what began as a seed of a simple idea germinate and manifest itself into something tangible. And this is especially true when that same invention eventually evolves into an innovation, because then, and only then, can its benefits to an individual, a community, and even a nation truly be recognized. It is in this vein that we have designed today's program of events. To formally initiate this morning's proceedings, please join me in welcoming to the stage the Director General of the Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research and patron of this auspicious event, Dr. Samir al-Sayyid Umar. Dr. Samira, please.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. الحضور والمتابعين الكرام، الزميلات والزملاء، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أرحب بكم جميعاً في هذا الملتقى الذي فرضت علينا جائحة كورونا والتزامنا بالإجراءات الاحترازية المقررة أن يكون من خلال تطبيق التواصل الإلكتروني. وأود أن أشكركم جميعاً على مشاركتكم وحرصكم على مد جسور التعاون بين القطاع الخاص ومعهد الكويت للأبحاث العلمية. وأود أن أرحب بشكل خاص بمشاركة السيد بيتر مهرافاري، ملحق الملكية الفكرية لمنطقة الشرق الأوسط وشمال أفريقيا بمكتب الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية لبراءات الاختراع والعلامات التجارية، وأشكره على الموافقة بتقديم محاضرته القيمة. الأخوات والإخوة، هذا هو العام الثالث الذي ينظم فيه المعهد هذا الملتقى، وسوف يقدم من خلاله 10 اختراعات وتقنيات جديدة حصل على براءات اختراعات لها خلال الفترة من 2019 وحتى مارس 2020، وهي الفترة التي احتلت خلالها دولة الكويت المرتبة 60 من أصل 129 دولة في المؤشر العالمي للابتكار، وحلت ثانياً على المستوى العربي بعد دولة الإمارات العربية المتحدة، وهو ما يعد إنجازاً مقبولاً. ومثل معظم دول العالم فقد عانت دولة الكويت خلال العام الجاري 2020 من آثار جائحة كورونا التي أوقفت كثير من أنشطة الاقتصاد العالمي، حيث تراجعت الأنشطة الابتكارية والمكانة التنافسية، وهو ما يتطلب منا الانتقال من مرحلة الاحتواء إلى التعافي، إلى التقدم من خلال تحفيز الابتكار في العديد من المجالات، ولا سيما المرتبطة بالتكنولوجيا الحيوية وبمكافحة الفيروسات المستجدة والتجهيزات والأدوات المختبرية. الحضور الكريم، لما كان المؤشر العالمي للابتكار الذي أشرت إليه والذي يصدر عن معهد أنسياد لإدارة الأعمال بشراكة من المنظمة العالمية للملكية الفكرية WIPO، يستند إلى مقاييس تفصيلية منها العمل المؤسسي ورأس المال البشري والأبحاث والبنية التحتية وتطور الأسواق وتطور بيئة الأعمال والمعرفة والتكنولوجيا، فإن ذلك يعني أن التطبيق التجاري للابتكارات وتطوير الأسواق وبيئة الأعمال من العناصر المهمة التي تحقق مكانة تنافسية للكويت على المستوى الدولي، بالإضافة إلى ما يحققه ذلك من تطوير بيئة الأعمال فيها وفتح أسواق وآفاق استثمارية وتجارية واعدة أمام القطاع الخاص، وإيجاد فرص عمل جديدة مع تنويع مصادر الدخل الوطني، وكلها عناصر مهمة لمستقبل التنمية في بلادنا ومستقبل أجيالنا. وبلا شك فإنه لا يمكن التقدم في هذه المحاور إلا بتحقيق تعاون أكبر وأكثر فعالية وتأثيراً بين المؤسسات البحثية والعلمية والنشاط الابتكاري في الدولة من جهة، وبين مؤسسات القطاع الخاص ورجال الأعمال والمستثمر الوطني من جهة أخرى. من هنا أدعو المؤسسات القطاع الخاص إلى مزيد من التعاون والعمل المشترك مع معهد الكويت للأبحاث العلمية والاهتمام بشكل أوسع بالاستثمار في مخرجات أبحاثه وابتكاراته والتقنيات اللي توصل إليها. وأكرر مجدداً بأن التقارب بين المعهد وبين المستثمرين ورجال الأعمال سيحقق فوائد مهمة وواعدة لكل الأطراف وينهض بالتنمية في بلدنا الحبيب الكويت، وأنني أتطلع معكم أن يحقق هذا الملتقى خطوات إيجابية في هذا الاتجاه، وأؤكد أن معهد الكويت للأبحاث العلمية يفتح أبوابه دوماً من أجل تحقيق هذه الأغراض. وفي الختام أود أن أشكر قطاع التسويق والعمليات التجارية بالمعهد لتنظيم هذا الملتقى ولما يبذله من جهد في تحقيق الأهداف المرجوة منه. وفقنا الله وإياكم لتحقيق منجزات حضارية جديدة لوطننا العزيز في ظل القيادة الحكيمة لحضرة صاحب السمو أمير البلاد الشيخ نواف الأحمد الجابر الصباح أمير البلاد حفظه الله، وسمو ولي عهده الأمين الشيخ مشعل الأحمد الجابر الصباح حفظه الله. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, Dr. Samira. Next, I would like to invite Mr. Abdul Muhsin Haroon, Executive Director of the Commercialization and Marketing Sector here at KISR, to come up to the podium and deliver his remarks. Mr. Abdul Mohsen.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. راعي الملتقى الدكتورة سميرة أحمد السيد عمر، مدير عام معهد الكويت للأبحاث العلمية، الحضور والمتابعين الكرام، الزميلات والزملاء، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أرحب بكم في هذا الملتقى الذي ينظمه معهد الكويت للأبحاث العلمية انطلاقا من إدراكه الواسع بأهمية الانفتاح بشكل أوسع على القطاع الخاص في الدولة لتسويق مبتكراته وتقنياته المطورة وتوفير فرص الاستثمار بها وتطبيقها على نطاق تجاري. الحضور الكريم، إذا كان الابتكار هو من يرسم أسلوب حياتنا العصرية ويعد أساس التقدم الاقتصادي والمحرك لنشاط التصنيع، فإن هذا الابتكار لا يمكن الاستفادة منه إلا من خلال تسجيله كبراءة اختراع، مما يتيح نقله من مستوى المختبر ومعامل الابتكار إلى مرحلة الإنتاج لصالح المجتمع والمستهلك. ومن هذا المنطلق فقد رفع معهد الكويت للأبحاث العلمية من معدل اهتمامه بالحصول على براءات الاختراع، وذلك في موازاة التزامه بنشاط البحث العلمي والتطبيقي، والذي يعتمد بشكل رئيسي على إجراء الدراسات والبحوث العلمية لصالح الهيئات والمؤسسات الوطنية والإقليمية، والذي حقق المعهد من خلاله إنجازات مهمة ومؤثرة في مسيرة التنمية الحضارية في البلاد على مدار أكثر من 50 عاماً. وقد تمكن المعهد خلال السنوات الخمس الأخيرة من الحصول على عدد 38 براءة اختراع لتقنيات وأجهزة وأنظمة تخص مجالات المياه والبيئة والبترول والمواد الصناعية والطاقة المتجددة وتكنولوجيا النانو وغيرها من ذلك، كما أن اختراعاته وابتكاراته حصدت عدد كبير من الجوائز في مسابقات ومعارض دولية، وقد كان آخرها حينما أعلن اتحاد مجالس البحث العلمي العربية قبل أيام قليلة عن فوز المعهد بجائزة الاتحاد في مجال الابتكار لعام 2020 عن إحدى ابتكاراته في مجال الطاقة، وقد سبق ذلك فوز المعهد ب9 جوائز في المعرض الدولي 12 للاختراعات في الشرق الأوسط خلال شهر فبراير الماضي. وقد بلغ إجمالي الجوائز التي فاز بها المعهد وباحثوه خلال السنوات الخمس الأخيرة أكثر من 40 جائزة، وهذا الرصيد الكبير لمنجزات المعهد نضعه أمام المؤسسات الراغبة في اقتناص الفرص والاستثمار في التكنولوجيا بالشكل الذي يؤمن للقطاع الخاص آفاق جديدة وواعدة. الأخوة والأخوات، إنني أتطلع معكم بأن يشكل هذا الملتقى أرضية مشتركة لتلاقي الأفكار بين المعهد والمؤسسات التجارية والصناعية في الدولة وتحسين التقارب، ولعلكم تتفقون معي بأن المؤسسات العلمية والبحثية والقطاع الخاص هما الطرفين الفاعلين في أي مجتمع، وعند التقائهما على أرضية ورؤية مشتركة فإنهما يشكلان نقطة انطلاق نحو التحول النوعي في مسار التنمية، كما أنه يقوي من قدرات القطاع الخاص ومراكز الإنتاج ويفتح آفاق جديدة للاستثمار وتطوير النشاط التجاري بالاعتماد على تحويل الابتكارات والاختراعات إلى تطبيقات تجارية يتم تسويقها داخل الكويت وفي منطقتنا الخليجية والعربية والإقليمية. ومن جهته سوف يعمل قطاع التسويق والعمليات التجارية في المعهد بشكل متواصل على تطوير هذه العلاقة وتحسين البيئة التشريعية التي تساهم في بناء أسس جديدة لهذه العلاقة وتزيل من أمامها المعوقات البيروقراطية. ويمضي المعهد في ذلك وفقاً لاستراتيجيته بعيدة المدى وخارطة الطريق للعام 2030، والتي ينفذ من خلالها مشاريع استراتيجية مع القطاعات الحيوية في الدولة واستكشاف الحلول والتكنولوجيات المتطورة لدعم التنمية المستدامة وإيجاد أفضل السبل لتطبيقها بشكل متكامل وبأقل كلفة ممكنة. وفي الختام أعبر عن امتناني الكبير لجميع المشاركين في الملتقى، وأحيي بشكل خاص المتحدثين فيه، وأشكر مدير عام معهد الكويت للأبحاث العلمية الدكتورة سميرة أحمد السيد عمر لتفضلها بشمول هذا الملتقى باهتمامها ورعايتها. ولا يفوتني أن أحيي زميلاتي وزملائي القائمين على هذه الفاعلية. لكم مني كل الشكر، والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Masin. And now we have a short video montage showcasing Kisser's inventions between 2019 and 2020. Hope you enjoy.
With the change in the global discourse towards sustainable cities, Kuwait recognizes the need for a proactive approach towards climate risk management, clean energy, and green economy. The Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research is front and center in this evidence-based discourse, investing in research and delivering viable and innovative solutions for green energy. Seawater desalination process, besides of fresh water, produces undesired levels of high concentration solutions of salts, known as brine. This brine waste is discharged into water or inland, which tends to contribute negatively on the environment. This patented desalination system tackles the environmental concerns attached with the standard desalination process by introducing a new system and method of treating the high concentrated liquid discharge. The invention is a desalination system with mineral recovery properties using spray drying technique, which allows both the production of purified water and the recovery of mineral salts. The system is a two-stage system for zero liquid discharge, ZLD, desalination of feed. The system can be used in different industries that require fresh water in its production operations and industries that tend to produce brine. Since this is a ZLD technology, this system is ideal for regions with active ZLD policies. Water is a precious element for life on Earth. Even though nearly 70% of Earth's surface is covered by water, there is severe shortage of drinking water globally. Desalination of seawater appears as a solution for the water shortage problem. The patented invention is a combination of reverse osmosis and forward osmosis technologies for desalination process to optimize the benefits from both processes. The process starts with the entry of saline water into the FO and RO systems, connected in series, and is purified into fresh water. The brine from RO, which is usually dumped back into the sea, is injected back into the FO system to dilute the saline water source. By this, the operating pressure at RO system was dramatically dropped to 30 bar, which is not observed elsewhere and is the major breakthrough in the process. This Kisser invention benefited with the minimized operation costs, process reliability, environmental friendly process, and a low energy seawater desalination process. In addition to the current sources of energy being used worldwide, hydrogen is considered one of the cleanest and most promising energy source to be used in numerous applications. At Kisser, we have developed composite of magnesium hydride powder with zirconium nickel powder and niobium oxide catalyst that forms a nano-composite system for hydrogen storage at low pressures and temperatures. The nano-composite system is formed by combining magnesium hydride powder with zirconium nickel and niobium oxide catalyst, forming a mixture and performing reactive ball milling on the mixture. Therefore, the nano-composite system can be used to extract the hydrogen at 10 bars and around 200 degrees Celsius, which is significantly a more cost-effective operation. Hefty volumes of waste are generated globally every year, such as plastics, end-of-life tires, household and commercial waste, and paper and cardboard waste. And the environmental impact of wastes is significant. A bench-scale reactor that is part of a fully integrated system that can perform thermochemical conversion and online analysis has been patented as of late by the Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research with the aim of waste-to-fuel work. Co-conversion of different feedstock materials can also be performed in the reactor that is of a fixed bed type and has 3 separated heating zones. The invention can enhance waste management while generating useful products in the process. The waste materials are converted to renewable fuel, factualizing future energy aspects of waste-to-energy and fuel research. Stainless steel is a metallic alloy in which its usage was proven to be essential in many of today's industries. This is because the material possesses anti-corrosion and wear resistance properties, which makes it a very favorable material to manufacturers. This is why a method for synthesizing stainless steel thin films using an electron beam physical vapor deposition (EPPVD) device was developed. The new method relies on homogeneously depositing elements of stainless steel on the target surface. The novelty of this method is based on the utilization of the EBPVD technique, which is employed solely to deposit thin films of any grade of stainless steel from evaporating an alloy source. On the commercial scale, this new approach is promising for coating the outer surfaces of pipes, heat exchangers, vehicles, turbine and compressor blades, and even household tools. Hydrogen fuel is a clean source of energy, which produces only water when consumed. Also, it can be used in fuel cells applications and in internal combustion engines. We have invented a method of doping magnesium strips with nickel powders using a cold spray technique. The method for doping magnesium with nickel, which includes cold rolling technique to produce thin magnesium nanostructured strips starting from commercial magnesium rods. Proposing a cold spray powder technology for coating the cold rolled magnesium strips with nickel powders at nearly room temperature. Applications are fuel cell applications in automobile, power plants, and automotive. The conventional rubble mound offshore breakwater built for erosion protection by sea waves is expensive for countries like Kuwait because we need to import good quality stones from abroad. Also, it has negative impact on the benthic marine life. It affects free water circulation, fish migration, and water quality on the coastal side. In Kisser, we invented vertical porous wave barrier, which consumes only 10 to 15% material when compared to conventional rubble mound offshore breakwater. Hence, capital cost saving of about 50% is possible. This innovative wave barrier is easy to build in a factory, assembled quickly in the field, appears beautiful with less environmental issues. Solar energy is considered the most abundant energy resource on Earth. With overtime usage, the panel's power efficiency is significantly reduced due to dust accumulation, which makes the maintenance and cleaning process costly. In Kisser, we invented a device and method for measuring the effect of soiling on the performance of a PV device. It utilizes a single PV device that is shifted between 3 stations. When 1 directly exposed to illumination, 2 placed under a cleaned glass, and 3 placed under soiled glass. A soiling ratio and soiling loss are then calculated through the measured electrical parameters in the 3 stations to monitor the performance of the PV device. This is useful for commercial and academic soiling studies, PV device performance and designs, and technology assessments. Kuwait has a crucial role in achieving Vision 2035 and New Kuwait Plan. In collaboration with private and public sector stakeholders, the Kuwait Institute for Scientific Research, as a leader of technological and scientific research, will continue to develop and contribute to the targets of sustainable living environment and diversified Kuwait knowledge-based economy. Striving for green energy is the future of sustainable cities.
Next, we have a presentation delivered by Engineer Ahmed Haji, Manager of the Scientific and Technical Innovation Department in the Commercialization Division here at Kisser, on the industrial application and market value of selected Kisser inventions. Engineer Ahmed.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh jami'an. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for participating in today's forum, and it is our pleasure to have you all. And we are glad to be able to host this event under this unique virtual circumstances. My presentation is about the industrial application and market value of Kisser invention. I will just start sharing the screen now. The industrial application and market value of selected Kisser invention. We're going to start about general overall for Kisser IP portfolio, which was conducted during the year 2019 and 2020. The patent and application by IP area was segregated, as you can see: the water treatment desalination, waste management solution, renewable energy solution, photovoltaic renewable energy, mineral recovery, lab equipment, and also hydrogen storage, coating composition. Some of the patent was as also in the cost management, chemicals, and the aquarium. We categorize Kisser commercial main customers into clusters based on the Kisser IP portfolio. Identify customer clusters by large industry, small and medium industries, and regional and international customers. We start with the large industry, which is water treatment industry or semi-government, petroleum recovery and refinery industries, energy regeneration. For the small and medium industry, we have also waste management industry, small farm, specialized chemicals components, and construction materials. For the regional and international customer, we have equipment manufacturer, chemical and material industry, small farms, and also specialized company. And as we said before, in the small and medium, we have also construction companies. A market value is based on a well-defined methodology with measuring scoring. Evaluating patents generates efficient gains for the invention in the market by different methods. One of the methods which we are using, it is the IP scoring, technology scoring, market scoring, and also by commercialization scoring. During the year 2019 and 2020, we select some of the invention which was just played in the previous video. We're gonna go over them to know the application of each one and the market trend for them. The first invention was the desalination system with the mineral recovery. The application, it is the ZLD water desalination system with mineral recovery application can be used in different industry that require fresh water in their production, operation and industrial that tend to produce brine. The market trend for this invention, the boom in the desalination industry is expected to be grown by 5.7 by year 2030, as we can see in the attached graph. Continuously growing demand for fresh water and continuous improvement of the technology abilities of the production. The second invention is the device and method for measuring effect of soiling of photovoltaics device. The application mainly used in this pattern is for solar energy, commercial and academically soiling test studies, PV device performance measurement. The graph shows for the market trend in this technology due to the increase in the R&D and market trend toward environmentally friendly technology solution. PVs and PV related technologies are expected to have a growth market potential that is directly related to the market growth for the PV soiling measuring device. The third invention is the pressure reduced saline water treatment system. The application in this pattern is a water treatment system, desalination system, which can be treated in different water sources, including seawater, underground water, and different high saline water intake. The graph shows you for everybody that you can see that there is a market trend for that, and it is increasing, which with the scarcity of fresh water and a growing demand for fresh water demand in the desalination seawater is expected to grow by 1.5% by the year, inshallah, 2030. The fourth invention is the damping ocean wave in a coastal area. Application for this invention, a water wave damping system can be used for dissipating wave energy in the coastal area, seasides, buildings, beaches, and also some of the aquarium structure. The system is ideal solution to maintain a good water quality and marine life, with the minimum cost, resources, for the resources we can use it, and the environmental impact. The market trend is growing, as we can see in the study which was conducted by the market study Global Breakwater Market Growth. There will be a booming in this technology. For the construction service market will register by 2.2 in the term of the revenue. For the nanocomposite system for solid hydrogen and the invention method for damping magnesium with nickel by cold and spray technique, we combine them under one application because they are falling under the same application, which is the fuel cell application in automobile, power plant, and automotive. As we can see in the market trend for form of the storage, form of storage, there is physical form and also material-based form. And this will be growing by year in 2026. There will be a huge growth in this two market trend for those kinds of applications. The seventh invention is the pyrolysis reactor system for the conversion of the analysis of organic solid waste. The application is waste management, energy generation. The market trend, the global market demand of the sustainable solution of waste management and energy generation, regulated by the environmental regulation, which is occurring nowadays with all the countries, have created an increased trend in the pyrolysis reactor system and similar technology solution. The waste to energy technology market has registered an increase of 186% with a total investment of $1 billion. As we can see, there is a huge demand, and inshallah will be a big growth of that technology too. The last invention is a method for synthesizing a thin film stainless steel coating. The application is coating for anti-corrosion protection, can be used for crude oil pipe, in oil and gas, heat exchange, and the boilers, automotive part, and also for the daily use production, our products. The market trend, the result of this invention is a stainless steel thin film, which contributed to many coating applications. Examining stainless steel's application include construction, transportation, heavy industry, and consumer goods. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation, and I will be glad to take your question by sending them to the chat box in the Zoom link which you are having. Thank you very much, and best of luck.
Thank you very much, Engineer Ahmed. Our next speaker is Engineer Pete C. Maravari, the U.S. Intellectual Property Attaché for Middle East and North Africa, who will be delivering his remarks remotely. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First off, thank you so much to Kisser, Dr. Samira, Engineer Ahmad for the kind introduction and the honor of coming to speak to everyone today. As I mentioned, my name is Pete Maravari. I'm the U.S. government's intellectual property attaché covering the Middle East and North Africa. I've had the amazing honor to live in Kuwait for the last 3 years and have really fallen in love with not just the country, but also with the amazing team at Kisser. It's just been such a pleasure to talk with the team, talk about intellectual property, and as an engineer, also to get a little bit nerdy when it comes to technology, because I miss that a bit. So I was asked today to come and talk to you about creating value through intellectual property. This is a very critical topic, and it's being discussed globally about what is the value of technology, what is the value of protecting technology. And so I'm going to spend the next about 10, 15 minutes just telling some stories about the region and my experiences, and sort of showing you how intellectual property provides that value to technology. And so I'm going to start with something that's sort of how I've been describing intellectual property more recently, as I've sort of had this 16-year career of talking about patents, trademarks, copyrights, is the more I interact with intellectual property, be it patents, copyrights, trade secrets, and the value side of things, the more I look at it in terms of real property, like a piece of land and a house. And there's so many very interesting similarities between the two. And when we talk about creating value for intellectual property, I want to take a step back this morning and talk about how do you create and measure value for a piece of property like a land or a house. So the fourth story I'm going to talk about is a person that's walking down the road, and they come across an empty piece of land, and they see the land is untouched. They see the land is hasn't been claimed by anyone, and they say, "This looks like a good piece of land. I want it." And they go to the piece of land, and they say, "I'm going to build a mine because I want to dig for valuable resources in that piece of land I've just bought." They go to the land, they construct a very modern, massive mine on top of the land. They hire a workforce, they hire security, they hire housing for the people to live on the mine so they can keep working often. And they've invested all this time and money into this piece of land. And they start digging. And they start digging. And they end up actually not finding gold. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for gold. So they just built and invested and bought this piece of property, and it didn't have that gold that they want to find in that mine. And so I mentioned this as sort of the starting point, because what we see throughout the world is that a lot of research, investment, production is being done on really exciting new pieces of property or intellectual property or technologies. And sometimes their value is not there when they're building that mine or that research department or that new technology, because they didn't do the research behind of, was that property initially valuable? Was there something that people want to purchase? Was there a market for that? And so I say that because not every piece of land has value, or the value that is shown to lots of people. Same as we talk about intellectual property or new technologies. Not every piece of intellectual property might have value to everyone. And I use the example of a gold mine as gold being generally valuable to everyone. Everyone understands the value of gold. However, with intellectual property and technology, value might be different for different folks and different people in different locations. So back to the story with the mine. Let's say they start digging in the mine, they start finding maybe some new material. Maybe they stumbled upon a new type of rock, and they dig the rock out. They'd never seen it before. There was maybe no commercial value once they discovered this new rock because no one had seen it before. They didn't know the properties of it. And over time and investment, they actually discovered this rock had incredible properties. It could be commercialized, it could be sold, and it could be sold globally. And just the point that they kept digging, they kept looking for value. And once they found something new, doing more experiments, finding new ways to commercialize it, finding new properties of that unexpected result, then you provide new value out of something that originally didn't have as much value. And so those are sort of two of the ways I like to look at intellectual property or technology. So initially, maybe that research came and was successful. It proved the point it wanted to find, but there was no market for that. Instead of just putting on a shelf and saying, you know what, this piece of technology doesn't have value, I'm going to just put it aside, spending some more time with it, figuring out, is there a market for this? Is there an unsolved problem or unidentified need for this technology? Finding new markets, finding new customers. Again, you're expanding the ways to take something that initially might not have had value to something that has potentially more value. The next story I wanted to share is a bit more personal, but again, also about property and how property relates to intellectual property and the value of that property and who is it valuable to. So my wife and I just we bought a piece of land back in the US, and our architect and I and my wife are working to design our new house. And the architect, when he looked at our initial ideas for this house, was a little taken aback because this architect was used to designing houses that were attractive to most people. And they wanted 3 bedrooms, 4.5 baths, sort of standard arrangement of the house. And my wife and I, having lived in the Middle East for a number of years now, really like the style of some of the houses out here. So we wanted an interior courtyard. We want some other features that in the US, those really are not as traditional styles of houses. And so our architect was worried that the value of our house would be less because it would be more difficult to market. And less people would be like, oh, that's the house I've always wanted because it's not as attractive to so many people. But for my wife and I, that's the house we want. That for us is the value of that piece of property. And I tell that story, it's the same thing with technology or inventions. One country or one research institution might have real value in moving forward with a technology that might not be seen as valuable to another country or another region, or even another university or another research institution. But there is value to that entity that's creating that technology. And I say that because sometimes we have this sort of overarching idea of value has to be valuable to everyone. And that's why I use the story about the gold mine initially. We're getting gold being valuable to everybody, but this sort of strange house that my wife and I are building in the US, that might only have value to us. And that's okay. And it's the same thing with technology. Figuring out what's the value of the technology that you are developing, you're creating, and why is that technology valuable to you? And I think that's a very important part as a lot of countries in the region are looking at how to measure success when it comes to the valuation of technology. Is it global standard of what's valuable, or is it more of a case-by-case basis of how is the technology valuable to us? Another example I want to share is about using technology that might not have a commercial value globally or in the market regionally, but that technology can be used to start a business. And so, for example, with the mine, Sure, they didn't find any gold, and it maybe took a number of years to find this new rock material. But in the meantime, you've now created a business. You've now trained employees about how to mine, how to run a mine effectively, how to train new employees to work at the mine. These are all important skills that all have value. And I see this often when it comes to startups and technology being developed by universities or research institutions that then goes and creates a spin-off in a startup. Oftentimes, the university or research institution might say, you know what, this technology doesn't have much value, so we're not going to spin it off. And that technology goes and sits on another shelf. But what's the value of giving that technology, that patent, to 2 or 3 entrepreneurs that want to create a business? That allows that company, that startup, to try, to experience what it means to go to the market, what experience to look for investors, to advertise, to hire people, to train people, to create a company. That's a very valuable skills and training that a lot of entrepreneurs really need. And so while that technology itself might not have the value in that sort of a global standard of what's valuable or not, it does have a big value when it comes to a local community, a local university, or even a country that wants to create a more knowledge-based economy. And so again, thinking about what is the value, not just the monetary value, but cultural value, social value behind intellectual property, I think is also very important. And then I'm going to end talking more about the protection. So going back to the original story with the mine, does property have value if it's not protected? Generally not. So how do we protect land or houses? We build security features to protect people from trespassing and taking our property. So for the mine, for example, we would probably want to build a fence around the mine. And as we compare this to intellectual property, that fence or that protection, let's say for technology, would be a patent. So what a patent does is it creates a legal boundary around your technology. And that boundary prevents other people from trespassing onto that technology. So that's what a patent does. Same thing with a fence. The fence stops people from trespassing onto your property. What if we only have that one fence guarding our new mine that we invested all this money in? All it takes is someone just coming, driving through the fence, knocking it down, and they've breached the property, they've come into our property, and they can steal our stuff. I see that as the same sort of example of when we have a new technology and we only get one patent that protects that technology. So we're creating just one fence. If something happens to that patent, maybe it wasn't, there were issues when it was filed or issues when it was granted, or maybe the patent office that granted it missed another reference that would invalidate that patent. Once that patent is gone, the technology is open for everybody. So what we really want to talk about is how do you create IP protections that do create value? And just like the mine, you might have a fence around the mine. You might have locks on the doors. You might have security guards. You might have even insurance. Providing different ways to protect that piece of property prevents, if one of those fails, you're still probably okay. So when it comes to technology, what we're seeing more and more is that when there is an invention, a lot of times we're trying to find new ways to protect each of the features of that invention separately. So, or even together as one patent, but maybe separate features as well. So if something happens to that, maybe that main patent, we still have other side patents that can protect that technology in different ways. And so for example, let's say for a new phone device, for example, you might have one patent for the whole device. You also might have patents for maybe an improved communication system within the phone, or a new camera in the phone, or a new speaker element in the phone. So if that main patent, something happens to it, you still have ways to protect the essential technology in that device. And you've not lost everything. And same thing for other types of intellectual property protections. So for an invention, for example, the phone again, it's not just the technology in the phone that's important. It's the way the phone looks, the shape of it. So that you use an industrial design protection to protect that, or the code that's used to make the phone work. That code itself, copyright. Also, trade secrets could be involved in making that phone as well. And so all of those different features create new pieces of protection that if something one fails, that fence around your gold mine fails, you still have many other ways to protect that technology. And so for me, that creates value. Having different ways to protect something, create value. Understanding what the actual value is to you is also to me the way to measure value. And combined, you now have a very valuable and rich type of product that you can market to the correct people. And I'll sort of end with this last thing is when we see companies getting investment, marketing their products, we generally see the best reaction of investors or potential partners when that inventor or that business comes to them with not just one patent, but a portfolio of patents and some trademarks and some industrial designs, some trade secrets that all together create this bundle of rights to their piece of property. And also having that inventor, that startup, explain what the value is on this piece of property and why. And so for me, that's how you create value of intellectual property, but also using intellectual property protection to maintain and even enhance that value. So it's been great learning about some of the new technologies that Kisser has announced today for the last year. And for me, it was very interesting to see all these different pieces of technology and the potential of how to protect them. But it was also great to hear how they're going to be valued, not just in Kuwait, but in the region. And so with that, thank you everyone for your time today. I'm very excited to hear the always amazing developments from Kisser this year and next year and for the future. So thanks again. Take care.
Test. Thank you, Engineer Meravari, for your talk. That concludes the presentation portion of today's event. We would now like to take it to the next level with a Q&A session with those inventors that managed to make it out today. If I could invite them up to the stage, please. So I see Dr. Ilmani, Dr. Nasser. Please come on up. And if you have any questions that you wish to put forward to these fine inventors, please do so through the chat function in the Zoom application. Okay, and I'll try to get to as many as possible in the time we have left. If you haven't got masks, you haven't, okay, please wear the gloves because we're going to be using the mic. Okay, so please, yeah, thank you. Yeah. So if you look on the table in between you, you should have a microphone. If not, I will share this one. If you're wearing masks, you shouldn't be worried. Okay. So if we could just go around and introduce yourselves really quickly and just briefly, just your title of your invention, and we can get to the questions and the details as we go throughout, please. Okay.
I am Dr. Gardacha, working in water desalination technology, WRC. My research field is developing new membrane and mineral extraction from waste brine generated from the desalination industries.
My name is Dr. Rajesh Kumar, and I am also from Water Desalination Technologies program. And my research invention is related to a new breakthrough in reverse osmosis desalination. And if you have any questions related to this, you can feel free to ask.
Hello. Good morning. My name is Neelamani. I am from Coastal Management Program, ELSRC. My area of research is coastal structures, particularly development of cost-effective, efficient, and environment-friendly coastal structures to replace conventional breakwater stones like rubble mount breakwater, because which is very much required for Kuwait and all the Gulf countries.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Firaz Zawi. I'm Associate Research Scientist in Energy and Building Research Center. My invention was about device and method for the measurement of soiling effect in the photovoltaic device. So basically how the dust and soil affect the performance of the photovoltaic devices. We'll be happy to receive any questions about that.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Nasser Aslayer. I'm from the Nanotechnology and Advanced Material Program at the Energy and Building Research Center. The patent that was invented from myself and my team was on the stainless steel coating on metallic parts using electron beam physical vapor deposition. So if any questions are regarded in this part, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm engineer Mohammed Banyan from Energy and Building Research Center from the Nanotechnology and Advanced Materials Program. The two inventions our team worked on were first a solid-state hydrogen storage system that was magnesium based. The other one was a technique for catalyzation utilizing cold rolling for the metal matrix, then cold spraying it with the catalyst.
Thank you all very much. So, of course, Kuwait lies, as we all know, in a desert climate, and there's always talk about harvesting and harnessing, rather, solar energy. So I'd like to start with you, Dr. Firaz, if you don't mind. Given the propensity for Kuwait to receive so much sunlight, all the heat and excessive parameters aside, what makes your technology different, and how do you see that being utilized in Kuwait and the neighboring countries?
That's a very good question, actually, because Kuwait is very well known for the solar energy. At the same time, it's very well known for the dust storms and the soil storms and all of that. So once the dust and soil, any contamination settles in the photovoltaic surfaces, it reduces the sun light absorbed by the solar cell itself, which reduces at the end the efficiency or the energy production of the cell itself. So it's very important to measure exactly how much I'm losing, because at the end, this will affect my operation and maintenance of the solar cell itself. And we're talking about huge and large solar cell plants like Shagai, what we're having. It costs some money to clean and to maintain. So it's very well needed to precisely decide when to clean. If I'm cleaning too early, I'm losing money. If I'm cleaning too late, I'm losing some energy already from the solar cell itself. So that's where the invention comes in. It precisely tells you how much you're losing, so you would go ahead and clean your photovoltaic system. It's different from what existing in the market, because what existing now, it's rather a method which compares several solar cells and then to find out how much you are losing. This includes several errors, which also will make you also lose some time and some costs at the operation and maintenance. We are providing one complete solution. It's a device. It's not a method anymore. It's more compact. It's one solar cell device. It's not two or three that you compare in between. It's the highest known accuracy up to this point. We reduced the accuracy from plus minus 4% down to plus minus 0.5% with our first prototype. We are working on the second automated prototype. Hopefully soon it will be in the produced and in the market. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if I understand you correctly, it's really about optimizing, right? At the end of the day, you're trying to find the best possible time to clean that soiling, to get rid of that soiling in order to maximize the efficiency and lessen the cost, right?
It's accuracy, actually, what we
Accuracy.
are after. Yes. So we accurately provide how much you are losing from this solar cell device because of the settlement of the dust, which is not in the market yet.
Okay.
Except our invention.
Thank you very much. So Kuwait, of course, does rely a lot on solar energy, and we know about the wind farm, etc. But something else that is extremely vital to us in Kuwait is potable water, drinking water, or water to be used in general activities, which we get from our taps. We have no surface water or barely any groundwater, which means that desalination is a huge part and parcel of what makes us the country that we are. We have to rely on it all the time. Given that, I'd like to switch now to the RO, the gentleman dealing with. If I can start with the RO, please. Reverse osmosis has been around for a while, right? Everybody or most people are familiar with it, even if they don't know exactly what happens. They are familiar with the term reverse osmosis. So what is it about your invention that differentiates it from the existing technology on the market right now?
Thank you for the excellent question, which is highly related to our invention. And the main inventor of this technology is Dr. Mansoor Ahmad. Unfortunately, he is not here, and I am one of the co-inventor, as well as Dr. Garudachar is the one more co-inventor in this invention. Yes, reverse osmosis is worldwide well-established technology, and one can think that what other things can be achieved in this technology. And that is the one what we have done at our Doha research plant recently. Let me simply demonstrate this. This is our Kadma drinking water. We produce it at 70 bar applied pressure. That means water recovery, what we are achieving here is 30 to 35%. Okay. And adjacent to this, we built one more small system, pilot scale, where we achieved the same recovery at 30 bar, less than half of the energy. So that makes the real breakthrough in this technology. This technology has high potential to integrate with the solar panels or solar energy. Even this technology can be very easily accessible for the poor countries where there is less fuels or this one fossil fuels for the consumption. So this is the main breakthrough in this technology, and this invention lead us for the next invention, which is currently under review at US Patent Office. And this technology is much more highly efficient and most important for the entire world, because the recovery in this process is up to 60%. Up to 60%.
60%. Okay.
Which is not achieved so far in any reverse osmosis. And we hope we will succeed in this granting this patent, and this is what we have done so far.
Thank you. So as engineers, of course, we strive to improve efficiency. I think we can all agree on that, right? When it comes to any invention or any innovation, as engineers, when we're trying to build or design a system, we try to maximize efficiency at the least amount of cost. But from an environmental point of view, when you're desalinating, you also end up producing or generating brine, correct? And other minerals, I'm sure. Could you maybe elaborate on what those minerals are and how they could be useful for Kuwait or any other countries?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Actually, in Doha, our team working as a group. So all of them will mingle for any particular task. In the sense, we are in my patent also, they are in a co-author and authors. So their main aim is to desalinate seawater with low energy consumption or low pressure or anything. So remaining my part is to treat that wasted brine if they can produce high saline or low saline waste. But once again, we need to send back to the sea. So it will constantly increase salinity of sea. Then it will face once again for desalination industries. So I focused on how to extract some of the minerals. Example in Kuwait seawater, magnesium, calcium, sulfates. This and other than that, sodium chloride is major part. So, but magnesium, calcium, and sulfate, these are very commercially valuable minerals. If we extract calcium sulfate, it is a gypsum we can use for agriculture purpose. If we extract magnesium and convert it into magnesium oxide, then it is a industrial use, one of the main material. So for agriculture as well as cement factories, they can use it, this one. So in that way, we design our system. So it will produce fresh water also from, not from the seawater. Instead of, it is taking as a feed, as a brain. It is a waste from all desalination industries. Then we are producing from that brine to some part water as well as pure mineral salt like calcium sulfate, magnesium sulfate. Based on that first project we started in 2016, KISAR funded one. It is a laboratory scale. Then we moved on to pilot scale. It is funded by KFAS. Now once again, for now we are focusing on only magnesium, but it is commercially viable. So we had all theoretical calculations. Then now we are running with
Sorry, I'm going to have to cut you off there, but just to understand.
Yeah.
So this is something that produces fresh water, but at the same time you extract these minerals.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of providing a benefit to society in the form of fresh water and the minerals, but at the same time you're helping the environment as well because you're removing these minerals from the water. So it's kind of a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Keeping with that, and speaking of extraction, and speaking of energy, or clean energy for the environment, hydrogen is supposed to be a very promising future source of that energy, right? And I believe you were talking about hydrogen. Yes. Could you maybe elaborate on that? What is the extraction process? What makes it different from other things? What is the technology behind it, and what are the benefits of utilizing your method?
One of the main benefits of utilizing hydrogen in hydrogen fuel cells to produce electricity is its efficiency and also its availability. So it's considered as a renewable source of energy and also unlike burning fuel to produce electricity, it is very clean. Its products after using it in a fuel cell to produce electricity is just water vapor. So in that sense, it is a very clean source of energy. Also, we're not really working on the field of producing hydrogen from the environment or from water, for example, but rather storing it.
Okay.
Yeah, specifically storing it in solid-state mediums.
And of course, storing it could be hazardous because it's highly flammable, right? So you have to make sure that it's a safe container and all the rest of it. So how is it that your technology differs from others or improves that efficiency of storing that hydrogen in a safe and efficient manner?
Well, the main goal of storing hydrogen in a form of solid material, like reacting it with different materials to produce to make it stored in a chemically stable state in a solid state is that, well, best way to see it is comparing it with, for example, storing it in a cylinder, in a gas form.
Sorry, can you bring the mic closer?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So best way to see its benefit is comparing it to other methods of storage.
Sure.
For example, storing it in gas form and high pressure in cylinders. First thing is it can prove risky because it can well, any breakage or failure in the storage medium could result in explosions. For example, if utilized in vehicles.
So what you're saying is it's a safer and more efficient way of storing this hydrogen, this technique or the process that you are
It is safer,
putting forth.
not necessarily stores a larger amounts.
Yes.
But it stores it. With time, we were hoping for it to be developed enough that it would be a better replacement for cylinders.
Okay. Thank you very much. So it's kind of going to be a replacement in the future. That's what your hope is.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Staying with the fact that we are in Kuwait, we have 500 kilometers of coastline. And the reason I know that is not because I'm a trivia buff, which I am, but because Dr. Nilamani and I are colleagues in the same program. And he has developed a novel technique of damping energy waves, you know. Maybe you could tell me how the cost specifically, because usually engineers know time is money, right? And resources are money, and materials are money. So in order to get to the most efficient cost for a structure, how does your cost or the cost of your invention compare to that of conventional breakwaters?
Thank you very much. Before going to the cost, country like Kuwait, so far and also in near future, they will invest not in millions, in billions of dollars to develop new coastal infrastructures. Not only Kuwait, all the neighboring countries. One of the biggest problem in the region is we don't get quality granite rocks, which is required for all construction activities in the coast. We are importing from abroad. It is very expensive. So we have to somehow try to go for new type of marine structures, which is not only cost effective, easy to build, environmentally friendly, looks good. So all these factors need to be considered. So that is the background for the invention, for our invention. For example, particularly, see, Kuwait itself, 15% of Kuwaiti coastal area are in erosion zone, from Salmiya all the way down to Saudi Arabia border. Nearly 15% of the chalets, beach hotels, they all suffer with the coastal erosion. So our solution will help them to go for cost-effective coastal protection and beach development. See, we also need good quality beaches for the people. Right? If you see, we don't have enough good quality beach in Kuwait. The reason is most of the beaches, they are all eroding. So from this point of view, our solution will save nearly 50% of the cost of conventional coastal protection. Imagine a 200-meter beach in Russell Ard. The protection cost is about 1 million KD, normal way of protection. If people use our solution, 50% minimum, they save the cost. One more small important information, the solution, our invention, we can use the material from crude oil byproduct, good quality plastics, good quality polymer can be used as a structure for our invention. That way we can avoid importing a lot of stones from abroad.
Thank you very much. So cost effective and environmentally friendly, and ticks off all the boxes basically, right? But I know that you ran into a lot of challenges trying to get this patent, as most of us have. And I think I'll last but not least, Dr. Nasser, I'll direct this to you, especially dealing in your field of nanotechnology, correct? I'm sure it being an up and coming technology, one that is very, it's not new per se, but it still has a lot of potential and still being explored, and the possibilities are endless, as they say. Exactly. What challenges have you found when it came to developing the invention that you got patented?
Thank you very much. Since my invention is regarding to coating a thin film layer of stainless steel itself is an alloy, so meaning that it has different types of elements within it. Now, each different element has a different evaporation temperature, meaning to have the similar composition transfer from one source to the coated layer would be a huge challenge. This is where we had to explore different flow rates, different temperatures in order to obtain such ratio in the elemental distribution. Now, this also, it's also another thing that came out from this challenge is that the different opportunities. At the initial stage, we were aiming for just stainless steel 316L. This is one category of stainless steel. But having explored different flow rates, different temperatures, we found different compositions of stainless steel and those having different grades of stainless steel. Okay. Now, why stainless steel is very important? Basically, if we have a thin film of stainless steel, you will have both erosion and corrosion properties to the coated material. Now, comparing to iron, for example, iron is 4 times cheaper than stainless steel. So instead of having a bulk material or part from stainless steel, we can just have this thin film of coating and have the favorable properties, which is anti-corrosion and anti.
Because iron rusts very easily, right?
Exactly.
So stainless steel is much more
exactly
amenable. I'd like to thank you all. I know you overcame challenges. I know every single one of you in your endeavor overcame obstacles, hurdles, challenges on your way, which makes your achievement today that much more impressive. I'd like to thank you all once again. I'd like to thank everybody here who participated, everybody at home who's been watching. Thank you all very much. We look forward to seeing you all again at an event very, very soon. Until then, thank you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hello.
First of all, I want to congratulate you all for these innovations that you developed in the Institute. We appreciate very much the efforts of the research centers in developing these important projects that will have some implication in the industry, in the environment, in improving productivity, and so on. So all your efforts that you do, although you work in a very small area or in very under programs that you are not aware of your surrounding as institutional, but your efforts, whatever you do within this unit, it adds to the whole institute, and it will have the impact to our image and to the values of science, to the public, to the society, to the industry, and the economy. So I really appreciate all your innovations that you develop. And also appreciate the marketing and commercialization sector, especially the commercialization division and the marketing division, for your efforts in organizing this webinar meeting, innovation meeting, that I feel it has shown very, very efficient and very well-organized meeting that will have good communication with the participants from Kisar and outside Kisar. I cannot tell you how important it is, our relationship with the private sector and with the public governments. Kisar has to show its outcomes of R&D, especially innovation, for the values and benefits of the Sustainable Development National Plan of Kuwait. We are important contributors to achieve its goals and objectives. This is why we have to put a lot of efforts in R&D to improve the industry in all the centers that we work with and the sectors, whether the environment, petroleum, building, energy, and so on. So your efforts in doing this in time, especially now that we are moving in more challenging world, that the innovation is in a very rapid pace in the world, that we are very under pressure of competing with especially the Gulf countries. There are some of the Gulf countries are ahead of us and in advance. The point here is not to just compete and achieve results and number of innovation. It's how we apply these technology in the industry and show our contribution have the impact to the local industry, regional and international. I realize some of the innovative ideas that have been applied just recently have been requested internationally to be applied in the region. This is a great success and a good example how we a small idea can be implemented and provide some socio-economic values. Cost effectiveness of these innovations is very important to be part of the assessment. I think the commercialization with the techno-economic division work together to assist the innovators to make this study available for the end users or those in the private sector that need this application. Just last week, we had another seminar, another meeting on innovation under the science and technology sector. In that seminar, it was very important that we had some discussions related to the local needs, how we expedite the process, and how we can provide tools and policies, legal support to make KISAR be able to market and commercialize its innovations. In that meeting, we will have some recommendation coming after we receive the reports. And collectively, we put together the outcome of this the forum that we completed today, in addition with a recommendation from the STS. And we were going to present it to the Board of Trustees to show that we are ready for this completing our role in commercialization. Thank you both. Thank you all for all this very interesting forum, for the arrangements. And I wish you more success and your colleagues in KISAR as a whole. Thank you very much. And Doctor, thank you for the presentation narrations.
Thank you very much. I would like to congratulate you for your invention, and I would like to thank you again for the effort you put on this. I just want to say one thing. Yesterday, I was participating in the Arab Confederation Science and Technology meeting. It was the 42nd meeting, and I cannot tell you how proud I was that KISAR being awarded the Best Innovation Prize. This is the second year. Yesterday, Dr. Saad was awarded the Best Innovation or Invention, actually, and this year, I think Dr. Faras awarded the prize. So I congratulate you. I was very proud being among these Arab countries that Kuwait had that achievement twice, two consecutive years. And Kuwait is very small in its size, but it's big in its achievements. And that's all because of you. And thank you very much.